All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again. Nancy Pelosi, y'all know the crooked Nancy Pelosi. Man, we got some breaking news on her because she finally admitted that she was in charge of the J6 situation, not Donald Trump. Because at the same time, you know how they was running with this stuff, this insurrection stuff about trying to put, they try to put everything on Donald Trump. Every time something happened, they want to put Donald Trump's name across it. They do this all the time, and we know how big of a liar Nancy Pelosi is. This woman don't do nothing but tell lies. She got, she talk about Trump everywhere she go as well. She's always talking down on Donald Trump. She always do this. And like I said, this one come by Benny. He said, we got a new leaked video of Pelosi admitting she was in charge of the J6 shocks. So like I said, make sure y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, because I know there's a lot of people been texting me in the comments saying that they ain't been getting my video notifications and stuff like that. And I can tell that's been happening because, like I said, I can see like a lot of the views on my videos and stuff like that, and I can see now why is that happening. A lot of people say they're not getting my notifications. So you can please do me a favor, please, as you subscribe to the channel, make sure you turn your bell to all so you can get all my notifications. That way everything will be good. All right, so we definitely finna get straight into this. Like I said, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you that do that stays to the end. Thank you very much for that. Really helps out a lot. And I'm not going to hold y'all up. Let's go ahead and dive straight into this, y'all. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. In any good murder mystery, the more you begin to unravel the case, the more you begin to see that you can't trust anybody. The more all of the facts of the case become distorted and confusing. The more you begin to question who the actual culprit was. Who's the actual murderer? There was a murderer on January 6th. It was a federal agent who slaughtered unarmed, innocent, veteran Ashley Babbitt, who was inside of the United States Capitol and peacefully protesting and was killed in cold blood without warning. There was also another murder on January 6th, and that murder was the murder in American people's faith in law enforcement and in the practices of law enforcement, as we saw multiple layers of mass law enforcement failures. And I can speak to this personally because during the BLM riots, just that summer, I watched Washington, D.C. get torched effectively to the ground. I watched some of our most precious and prized monuments be desecrated. I watched Donald Trump get taken down into a secured bunker because these left-wing orcs had overrun the White House and were burning down buildings on White House property, injuring hundreds of Secret Service officers. You never hear about that. Nobody was even charged. Isn't that wild? This is a photo of the Lincoln Memorial when the National Guard was deployed to the Lincoln Memorial to protect it and to stop these animals from going and desecrating it. They were spray painting Lincoln Memorial and so on. It was a bad look for the nation, having our national monuments desecrated, but it was a good look right here. I would argue this is a great look, right? You should have law and order. This is what it looked like when the National Guard was deployed. Let's just say there was no graffiti that night or ever again, because nobody wants to mess with a militarized unit that can use military tactics on you to make sure that you're not doing the wrong thing. What am I building up to here? The National Guard is the key to understanding January 6th. Why wasn't the National Guard deployed? Donald Trump wanted them to be deployed. Donald Trump authorized 25,000 National Guardsmen to stand in front of the United States Capitol building just like that. Let me assure you that Ray Epps or Antifa or literally anybody, some guy from the backwoods of West Virginia that's drinking an entire bottle of Jack, that none of these guys would get through the National Guard. I promise you that. I've seen these guys up close. Nobody's going to mess around. If these people were deployed at the Capitol, there would be no January 6th. It'd just be another day in the calendar.
Yep.
So why weren't they deployed? Donald Trump told them to be deployed. Donald Trump wanted peace and security. Donald Trump said march peacefully on that very day.
He did.
Why weren't they deployed? Well, we now have some very shocking revelations that have popped up. And of course, this will come as no surprise to anybody who watches our program. We often interview Kash Patel, who claims that he was smeared by the January 6th committee for backing Trump's claims that he authorized the National Guard. Trump advisor says January 6th smear campaign against him is dead. Transcripts suppressed by the January 6th panel were released and corroborate Patel's testimony about the National Guard authorization. Ex-acting Defense Secretary tells the Daily Mail the January 6th threatened him to keep him silent.
Wow.
So now it turns out that Kash was right. And you can actually see, you can actually read it here.
Yep,
you can
Kash
go ahead and
Patel was
see
right.
the evidence and the documents of Donald Trump authorizing the National Guard to go to the Capitol that day. So who said no? The answer is Nancy Pelosi. And why would Nancy Pelosi say no to the National Guard being at the Capitol? I mean, this is what the Lincoln Memorial looked like in June of that year, and Nancy Pelosi knelt down and prayed to the protesters in this instance. What would stop Nancy Pelosi from deploying the National Guard to keep herself safe? It just doesn't make any sense until you actually see this new footage of Nancy Pelosi just released inside of her SUV with the Secret Service in it, because if you're the Speaker of the House, you get the Secret Service. You get Secret Service protection because you're in the line for the presidency. Nancy Pelosi effectively saying, I am responsible for not having the National Guard here, and it was me. It was me the whole time. This, of course, corresponds to a number of other shocking revelations that we know about Nancy Pelosi on that day. Let's listen.
Responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
There's not a question of how they have. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
Nancy Pelosi said no to having the United States Capitol.
Yeah, this right here is just proof that this woman is a liar. Literally just admitted that she was in charge of it. Just admitted it. And she goes around and try to blame Donald Trump for every single thing. What was her whole thing is? It's Donald Trump's fault. This is what this woman been doing for the longest. She probably thought this video wasn't gonna never come out. But it did. This is wild.
Look like this. This is a fact. There would not have been a single hand laid on the United States Capitol if the National Guard, like Donald Trump wanted, had been deployed.
Yep.
So this, of course, destroys their entire narrative, along with a number of other narrative-destroying facts.
Yep.
Like the chief of police that day at the U.S. Capitol, continually calling Nancy Pelosi and getting left on red for 70 minutes. Nancy Pelosi waited until the Trump supporters had breached the building. Paid agitators, Antifa members, whatever rabble there was that day.
Yep.
Hooliganism all around. Nancy Pelosi waited until they had breached the building in order to pick up the phone calls from her security team.
The House in charge of security at the Capitol?
So you have the politically appointed Capitol Police Board.
She basically tried to set up Donald Trump exactly what she did, and you notice she's been running with this same story for the longest. Now, all up until this video right here just came out. But her whole argument, the whole time, she was trying to blame it on Trump and his supporters. She's been doing this stuff for the longest, and that's why we've been calling Nancy Pelosi a liar, and that she's the one that needs to be in jail. I wonder if they're going to go after Nancy Pelosi. Republicans need to go after Nancy Pelosi. Get her in the courtroom like they keep putting Donald Trump in the courtroom. Put Nancy Pelosi in the courtroom. Make her answer even more questions, because this is the woman that needs to be in jail. And I'm telling you now, that's why, like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's been kind of going off on Republicans and Mike Johnson, because she's saying, look, We just sitting back and they doing this to Donald Trump, but we ain't going after one of theirs. And she's right, though. They need to go after Nancy Pelosi. Need to. This woman is a known liar. This is evidence.
That's put in place by, you have the Sergeant Arms that's put in place by Pelosi. You have the Senate Sergeant Arms that's put in place by the Senate leadership. And then you have the architect of the Capitol that's put in place by the president. So you have 3 voting members. I'm a non-voting member. I'm the only non-politically appointed non-voting member. And that's kind of how the security oversight works. But it was Paul Irving who immediately said, I'm going to run it up the chain. I'll never forget that. Run it up the chain. And his chain of command ends at Speaker Pelosi. And I had to wait 71 minutes to finally get an approval at 2:09 p.m. before I could finally reach out and start calling in federal assistance. 71 minutes where my men and women fought on the fought heroically to prevent the Capitol from being from being penetrated. And it took 80 minutes before the first window was broken. So those were critical, essential minutes.
So this Chief of Police, Stephen Sund, is sitting there saying, Nancy Pelosi took 71 minutes to pick up my phone call. And it was 80 minutes from the first breach until the windows were shattered inside of the building. And what was Pelosi doing? We actually have some footage of what Pelosi was doing. She was doing something that is, if this were a murder mystery, would actually be the murder weapon with DNA on it at the crime scene.
The service said they have dissuaded him from coming to Capitol Hill. They told him they don't have the resources to protect him here. So at the moment he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom.
I would pay with you.
So she's talking about Trump. She says, if he comes, I'm going to punch him out. And everybody focused on that and said, whoa, hey.
See, and that's the thing right there. She threatened to say if she see Donald Trump, she will punch him. Now, that would have been the other way around. Now, you see the news cover didn't cover this. You didn't hear CNN, MSNBC, ABC. You ain't hear none of them. You ain't hear none of them. What his name? Steve Slopanopoulos? You ain't hear none of them talking about this right here, about Nancy Pelosi saying she going to put her hands on Donald Trump when she see him. She going to punch him. But let Donald Trump would have said he wants to punch Nancy Pelosi. Oh, that'll blow that up. They'll be still talking about that right now as we speak. So she literally just saying, if I see him, I'm going to punch him. But she get to get away with stuff like this. But like I said, let Donald Trump would have been saying, I want to punch Nancy Pelosi. I know Trump would never say nothing like that, but just imagine if he did. You know they'll be running with it. They'll be still talking about it.
Hey, boom, clap, whatever. Violence against the president or slay queen, whatever, But nobody caught the next thing that she says, which is so unbelievably strange and clearly proves coordination on the Capitol breach. Watch.
I'm waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
Wow.
I've been waiting,
and I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail? Listen to this woman. She's going to punch him out. She's waiting. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail. But nobody said anything about this. I remember when I first heard it, I covered this. But you don't hear any of the big networks saying something about Nancy Pelosi and threatening Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't never said he was going to put his hands on this woman. Never said anything like this. And, of course, now we know she's a liar, according to what she was just saying in that van.
For this? For trespassing on the Capitol grounds? Trespassing is what they charge the vast majority of J6ers with. Trespassing. Oh, you were trespassing. They hit him with a misdemeanor for trespassing. Now, this is an insane thing to say as Speaker of the House because, well, millions of Americans walk into the Capitol every single year. You, right now, can walk right into the Capitol. You just go right in through the Visitor Center. You can walk straight into the Rotunda of the Capitol. You can walk all over the Capitol building. You can walk into Statuary Hall and look at all the... You could book a tour right now. Mm-hmm. What do you mean trespassing on the Capitol ground? Since trespassing? Who's ever thought of that? Who's ever heard of that? That's what Nancy Pelosi was thinking whilst she's watching J6 on TV. She's literally coming up with she's able to say the charges that they hit like every J6er with, that are currently actually under review at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is probably going to remand these charges down to the lower courts and throw all of the J6 charges into total and complete chaos because it's been so abused. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been abused because people like Nancy Pelosi were far more concerned about how she looked on that day.
I remember that.
Than
I remember that.
What her actions were. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is walking here with her video team on the day of January 6th. You can see here where Nancy Pelosi actually slows down so that her camera woman can get the shot. Look at that. It takes you just a second. You have to know. It doesn't take. It's not hard though to see. You can see the camera woman walking, and then Nancy Pelosi does a stutter step in order to make sure that the camera person has the right angle on her. That's how concerned Nancy Pelosi was on January 6th.
Yep.
It's almost like Nancy Pelosi knew something that none of the rest of us knew. Very, very strange that. Maybe she knew that there were federal officers who were encouraging that same trespassing that Nancy Pelosi talks about in the aforementioned clip. Like this. This is undercover body cam. This is undercover body camera of federal officers, Metropolitan Police officers, encouraging J6ers to go into the Capitol, to scale the walls of the Capitol. Help them up. Go, go, go. Help them up. Push them up. Push them up. Go, 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 go. Drain the swamp.
Yeah.
That's entrapment, dude. That's what that is.
That's what that was. Telling them to go.
Anybody explain this footage? Anybody explain what's going on here when a violent protester gets handcuffed, then unhandcuffed, and let free?
Right. This right here was all a little setup for Nancy Pelosi and her mind games. You can hear the cop basically saying, go, go, go up there, go up there. Like Benny said, it was all a setup to try to blame all of this on Donald Trump. I'm telling you, these people are willing to go as low as they can to blame something on Donald Trump, and it is just sad. And then you got this officer that's supposed to be allegedly arrested a protester, but then now he's taking off his handcuffs, and he's just going to let him go. This stuff was all a setup. Look at this crap. Look at this.
Before he gets clapped on the back and fist bumped by the cops who arrested him. What's going on there? What is that?
Fist bump.
I don't have an explanation. I would like to know. What's happening there? Something seemed very, very strange. Something seems like a setup. Like there was a big, fat setup. And that everything you know about January 6th is a lie. That's it.
Yep.
Everything about January 6th is a lie.
Because I remember, like, the Trump supporter, they was peacefully coming through the hallways. You don't see nobody acting a fool. You can see, like, the police officer are just standing there. They just standing there, and they just walking peacefully through the hallway. This stuff was all a setup, man.
And you see clips like this of these people, like, just peacefully taking their little flags and walking down the halls and saying hi to the cops. Exclusive, Liz Cheney, January 6th committee suppressed exonerating evidence of Trump's push for National Guard. They suppressed information, falsely claimed that there was no evidence to support Trump officials' claims. The White House asked for 10,000 National Guard troops. There actually is evidence of that. They lied to you.
Yep.
They lied to you. And now the D.C. National Guard whistleblowers saying they were ready to be deployed on January 6th on Trump's orders, but were held back by the Pentagon in bombshell testimony contradicting Capitol Riot Committee's story. Oh, no. Well, well, well.
We see what happened.
Well, I mean, somebody's telling the truth and somebody's lying. It's a murder mystery.
Yep.
But you know what? Now we have on tape Nancy Pelosi saying it's her fault.
Clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
I take responsibility. Unaired footage show chaos, anger of congressional leaders amid January 6th evacuation. Politico reviewed a 45-minute video shot by Nancy Pelosi's daughter and was recently obtained by the House GOP investigators. Expect more from this. Expect more about the truth about Nancy Pelosi and January 6th. We are very much looking forward to more of this footage being released.
Yep.
It's already a bombshell. And will anybody ever be held accountable for that day? Holy smokes, man. We hope so. Like, we hope so. We never want to see anything like that ever happen again. It's been horrors beyond imagination for our fellow American.
And shout out to Benny for another great video. As y'all can see, Nancy Pelosi admitted it was her fault. It's her voice, and it ain't no audio. It's literally her in person admitting it was her fault. But yet they ran with this narrative the whole time. It was Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump did this. They try to blame everything on Donald Trump. Now, let's see what's going to happen to Nancy Pelosi. Is she going to be going to court for this? Is she going to be put in jail for this? Watch. Democrats, they just going to look over this right here. But Republicans definitely need to do something about this. Definitely need to do something about this. So, like I said, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this. Thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.